My name's Ronja. I was born in Country Gully, which is just outside Melbourne by about 30 kilometres in 1948.
When did you first find out about Indigenous culture? How old were you and where were you?
I was in grade 4 or 5 at primary school in Baronia, the school that I went to, primary school. We had a visit from some Mornington Islanders who did some dancing and showed us their weaponry and artefacts.
How did it affect you?
Well, we were very excited about these men and their stuff and how they appeared, and we pretended to be Aborigines for the rest of that year. I don't know whether it was weeks or months, but we made boomerangs and stone axes and mucked around in the bush.
Well, seeing as you're painting, I guess I should ask you, why do you paint the images that you do, referencing Aboriginals' lives currently and intermixing the cultures like you do?
One reason is that it hasn't been done before to any great extent, and it certainly hasn't been done, if at all, for a very long time. I'm living now, I'm not living in the past.
When did you first meet Rod?
When did
you Rod met him? A long time meet?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You
Long time.
1986, eh?
Yeah.
Did you like him?
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you have any stories of when you first met him?
Story.
Yeah.
I don't know story.
You need to come around in front of it, right?
Yeah, I'm coming.
And then Malagar paint the mother.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Looking for you.
Gear on the Java, tiny dots on that.
And all the
Little
little
dots.
columns.
Little column. You got a Langwa,
Long what?
Yamba,
Kagaya.
What's a langwa?
bush banana there.
Yeah. I know.
Passion fruit down there.
Wild orange.
Orange up there.
Banana.
That's
And microphone.
the food from this country.
Yeah.
You eaten much of that food, Rod?
I've eaten every one of them.
Yeah.
No, not orange. I haven't had orange. Glenda's daughter, Bernadine, says or claims that Glenda is 90. Must be at least 90, but I think that just means very old. And if she says she was born on Christmas Day, it's not unusual for people to say Christmas Day or New Year's Day, because when the census included Aboriginals for the first time in the mid-1960s, they were often just given those dates arbitrarily.
Hi, I'm Raquel. I'm 23. I was born in Alice Springs.
When was like the first time that you started maybe having relationships with Indigenous people?
Oh, from the time I was born?
So you've grown up in town for the majority of your life?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. And did you have many Indigenous friends growing up actually in town?
No, not heaps. No. Yeah, there were definitely Indigenous students at school, but when I went to school at Olsh, I mean, the longer that I was there were more Indigenous students coming in, but when it was starting out, it was, yeah, fairly limited.
Was there much teaching of Indigenous culture or history in Olsh?
Oh, a bit, not much. I wouldn't, nah. Like, I would say that, I came out learning nothing, to be honest, of Indigenous culture from Olsh. Everything I learnt was from growing up in Alice or from my dad or mum.
Can you tell me what you think the situation is? Like in a nutshell, I know that's hard.
No.
Like if you could say one sentence.
One sentence.
Or, like a few sentences.
Yeah, education, I think, is a huge factor insofar as if there's going to be a problem, Alice, I think that, I think the more you educate people, then the sort of the easier life becomes between peoples and that sort of thing. I actually think it would have been highly beneficial growing up to learn some, more Indigenous culture, and even instead of learning, say, Indonesian or French or Japanese up until year 6, maybe learn Aranda would have been good. Would have brought the sort of the communication gap closer between, the next generation.
What do you find so interesting about the culture? Why were you drawn in?
Whatever tradition means, wherever people in town are living, whether it's on the ground, in very primitive tin dwellings, or in suburbia, one thing that is striking is their very detailed observation of nature. And I find this compelling, fascinating, because I'm not born here. I didn't grow up with immersion in the seasons, in the things that grow and bug around the place. The little cicadas and bird life. It's really very different from the coast where I grew up. So who are the best informants? Indigenous people. And those sort of things are fascinating. And the other really fascinating thing from a person of English, Anglo-Saxon, Norwegian, Scandinavian descent is the family thing. Increasingly in Western society we've become what's called the nuclear family, smaller families, more and more isolated and independent of each other as family members. It just doesn't exist in Indigenous society. It's unfathomable that people can live at such distance from their blood relatives and not be joined together in decision making and activities. And it's a really compelling thing to feel both the highs and lows that go with very powerful family movement.